Hello, my friends. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about another useful book called The Daily Laws. The author is Robert Greene. But remember, this is not a difficult lesson. This is an easy English podcast. As always, I will use easy words to talk about deep ideas. We take big ideas and explain them in simple, natural English so you can understand the message and learn English at the same time. You will hear useful vocabulary, clear sentences, and repeated ideas. This helps you learn English naturally through listening, meaning, and context. This book is a little different from many other books. It is not only one long argument. It is not only one story. It is a book of short daily lessons. Each day gives you one idea to think about, one lesson, one reminder, one small piece of wisdom. The word daily is very important. Daily means every day, not once a year, not only when you feel motivated, not only when life is easy, every day. This is the main feeling of the book. Life changes through daily attention. You do not become wise in one day. You do not become strong in one day. You do not understand people in one day. You do not master your work in one day. You grow by returning to important ideas again and again. One day, you learn something about yourself. Another day, you learn something about people. Another day, you learn something about power. Another day, you learn something about patience, focus, emotions, strategy, or mastery. Slowly, these lessons begin to shape the way you see life. In The Daily Laws, Robert Greene brings many of his big ideas into short daily lessons. The book invites you to read a little every day and think about your life. This is useful because many people want big change, but they do not have a daily practice. They want wisdom, but they do not stop to think. They want success, but they do not study their actions. They want confidence, but they do not understand their fears. They want better relationships, but they do not study people. They want mastery, but they do not practice deeply. The book says, in a quiet way, slow down, look carefully, learn every day. This is a powerful message. In the modern world, many people are distracted. Distracted means their attention is going everywhere. They check their phone, they watch many short videos, they compare themselves with others, they react quickly, they move from one idea to another idea, and their mind is busy, but not always deep. The Daily Laws asks us to become more aware. Aware means awake. It means you notice what is happening inside you and around you. You notice your habits. You notice your emotions. You notice people's behavior. You notice your mistakes. You notice your desires. You notice what you really want. Without awareness, we live automatically. We repeat old patterns. We make the same mistakes. We blame other people. We follow the crowd. We waste time. We say, "This is just who I am." But maybe it is not who we are. Maybe it is only a habit. Maybe it is only a pattern. Maybe it is only something we learned before. A daily lesson can interpret the pattern. Interpret means stop something for a moment. You read one idea and you pause. You ask, is it true in my life? Do I do this? What can I change today? That small pause is powerful. You give meaning to something. For English learners, this is a strong idea. Why? Because learning a language also needs daily attention. You cannot listen once and become fluent. You cannot learn one word and understand everything. You cannot speak one time and become confident. You need small daily contact with English. One sentence a day matters. One short podcast a day matters. 1 minute of speaking a day matters. One useful phrase a day matters. This is similar to the idea of daily laws. Your English grows when you return to it every single day. Your mind becomes familiar with the language. Your ears become stronger. Your mouth becomes more comfortable. Your confidence grows slowly. The book is not saying you must become perfect every day. No, it is not saying you must do everything right. It is saying bring attention to your life every day. Learn one thing. Practice one thing. Notice one pattern. Make one better choice. This is realistic. This is human. This is possible. One of the biggest ideas behind Robert Greene's work is that people often do not understand themselves. They think they are logical, but emotions often control them. They think they are free, but old habits control them. They think they understand people, but they often see only the surface. The surface is what you see first. The deeper truth is under it. For example, someone may look confident, but inside they are afraid. Someone may sound kind, but maybe they want control. Someone may criticize you, but maybe they feel insecure. Someone may praise you, but maybe they want something from you. Human behavior is complicated. Greene asks us to look deeper. Do not believe only appearances. Do not react too quickly. Watch, listen, think, study patterns. This is not about becoming cold or suspicious. It is about becoming wiser. A wise person does not believe everything immediately. A wise person observes. A wise person asks, what is really happening here? A wise person understands that people are emotional, complex, and sometimes contradictory. Contradictory means two things are different or opposite at the same time. A person may want success, but fear responsibility. A person may want love, but push people away. A person may want freedom, but follow the crowd. We are not simple machines. We are human. This book helps us understand that. So, the first lesson from this book is simple. Wisdom is daily, not one big idea once, not one big motivation once, not one big change once. Daily attention, daily reflection, daily practice, daily growth. If you learn one useful idea every day and apply it even a little, your life can slowly change. If you listen to English every day and practice even a little, your English can slowly change too. Small daily lessons become a stronger mind. Small daily practice becomes better English. Small daily awareness becomes a better life. All right. One of the deepest lessons in the daily laws is this: know yourself first. This sounds simple, but it is not easy. Many people live for years without truly understanding themselves. They know what other people expect from them. They know what society says is successful. They know what looks impressive, but they may not know their real nature. Your nature means your deeper personality, your deeper interests, your deeper energy. It is the way you naturally think, feel, and respond. It is what attracts you. It is what gives you energy. It is what you return to again and again. Robert Greene often talks about finding your path. Your path is not only a job. It is not only a title. It is a direction that feels connected to you. Some people are drawn to music. Some people are drawn to language. Some are drawn to business. Some are drawn to teaching, writing, science, design, or helping others. The important thing is to notice what calls you. What do you think about again and again? What subject makes you curious? What kind of work gives you energy? What problem do you like solving? What did you enjoy before other people told you what to do? These questions are important because if you do not know yourself, you may spend your life following other people's desires. You may choose a career because it looks good. You may copy someone else because they are successful. You may follow a trend because everyone is talking about it. But after some time, you may feel empty. Empty means something is missing inside. A life that looks good outside can still feel wrong inside. This is why knowing yourself is important. It is called self-knowledge. It means understanding yourself. It means knowing your strengths, your weaknesses, your fears, your desires, and your patterns. Self-knowledge is not always easy. Sometimes you see things you do not like. Maybe you avoid difficulty. Maybe you need too much approval. Maybe you become jealous. Maybe you compare yourself with others. Maybe you get angry too quickly. Maybe you lose focus. Maybe you start many things but do not finish them. Seeing these things can hurt, but it is useful. You cannot change what you do not see. This is a repeated idea in Greene's work. Look honestly. Do not hide from reality. Do not create a beautiful story to protect your ego. Ego means the part of you that wants to feel important, right, and safe. The ego does not like criticism. The ego does not like mistakes. The ego does not like feeling weak. But growth begins when you can see yourself more clearly. For English learners, self-knowledge is very important. Many learners say, "My English is bad," but this is too general. It does not help. A better question is, what exactly is difficult for me? Is listening difficult? Is speaking difficult? Is pronunciation difficult? Is vocabulary difficult? Is grammar or confidence or consistency difficult? When you know the real problem, you can practice better. For example, if your listening is weak, listen more. Use repeated listening. Use slow English. Use clear podcasts. If your speaking is not strong, speak out loud every day. Answer simple questions. Record yourself. If confidence is not as strong, practice small, safe speaking moments. Self-knowledge makes practice smarter. Without self-knowledge, you may practice the wrong thing. You may study grammar for years when your real problem is speaking. You may memorize words when your real problem is using them. You may watch difficult videos when your real need is simple, repeated input. So, ask yourself honestly, what do I really need? This question is powerful. Another part of knowing yourself is understanding your emotions. Many people are controlled by emotions they do not understand. They feel angry and they react. They feel afraid and they avoid. They feel jealous and they criticize. They feel insecure and they try to impress people. But a wiser person pauses. They say, "What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? What is the deeper reason?" For example, jealousy can show you what you want. If you feel jealous of someone's success, maybe you also want success in that area. Instead of attacking the person, learn from the feeling. Ask, what does this show me about my desire? Fear can show you where you need preparation. If you fear speaking English, maybe you need small speaking practice. If you fear public speaking, maybe you need structure and practice. If you fear failure, maybe you need to change your relationship with mistakes. Emotions are information. They are not instructions. This means you can listen to your emotions without obeying them immediately. If fear says run away, you can say, "Thank you, fear, I hear you, but I will take one small step." If anger says attack, you can say, "I will pause first." If insecurity says prove yourself, you can say, "I do not need to impress anyone." This is emotional self-control. It is not about having no feelings. It is about not being controlled by every feeling. So, the author says, study your reactions. Study your habits. Study your fears. Study your desires. Study your excuses. Not with hate, with curiosity. For English practice, you can use the same idea. Do not say, "I'm stupid because I make mistakes." Instead, say, "This mistake shows me what I need to practice." Do not say, "I always fail." Say, "I need a smaller habit." Do not say, "I have no talent." Say, I need better practice and more time. The language you use with yourself matters. So, the lesson of this part is simple. Know yourself first. Know your real interests. Know your weak points. Know your emotions. Know your patterns. Know what gives you energy and what takes your energy away. A person who knows themselves can choose better. A learner who knows themselves can practice better. Self-knowledge is the beginning of wisdom. Now, another important idea in this book is purpose. Purpose means a clear reason for your actions. It is the deeper why behind what you do. When you have purpose, your energy becomes stronger. You know where you are going. You know why the work matters. You can continue even when the path is difficult. Without purpose, life can feel random. You may start one thing, then stop. Then start another thing and stop again. You may follow trends. You may copy others. You may look busy, but inside you feel lost. Purpose gives direction. Direction is very important because we have limited time and energy. You cannot do everything deeply. You cannot master every skill. You cannot follow every path. You need to choose. And when you choose, you can go deeper. The author often writes about the importance of a life task. A life task is the kind of work that feels deeply connected to you. Robert Greene says, it is not only a job, it is a direction that fits your nature. It is something you can study, something you can practice, something you can improve for many years. For one person, the life task may be music. For another person, language. For another, teaching. For another, business. For another, science. The area can be different, but the feeling is the same. This matters to me. I want to go deeper. Purpose does not always appear clearly in one moment. Sometimes you discover it slowly. You try different things. You notice what gives you energy. You notice what you return to. You notice what problems you care about. You notice what work feels meaningful even when it is hard. Meaningful is an important word. Meaningful means it has value for you. It feels important. The right path is not always easy. This is important. Some people think, if this is my purpose, it should always feel easy. No, purpose can be difficult. But the difficulty feels worth it. You may get tired, but you still care. You may struggle, but you want to continue. You may fail, but you return. This is how you know something matters. Purpose turns practice into meaning. For example, if you say, I want to learn English, this is good, but it is general. If you say, I want to learn English so I can speak confidently in interviews, that is stronger. If you say, I want to learn English so I can teach, travel, and share my ideas, that is even stronger. A strong why helps you continue when motivation is low. Motivation is a feeling. It comes and goes. Some days you feel excited, some days you feel tired. If you depend only on motivation, your practice will be unstable. Purpose is deeper than motivation. Purpose says, even if I do not feel excited today, this still matters. All right, a major theme in Robert Greene's work is mastery. The word mastery means being very good at something. But it does not only mean being good. It means going deep. It means understanding something so well that you can do it almost naturally. A master musician does not only play notes. A master musician feels the music. A master writer does not only write sentences. A master writer understands people, understands stories, emotions, and ideas. A master teacher does not only explain lessons. A master teacher understands students, problems, fear, motivation, and learning. So mastery is deep skill. Mastery is deep understanding. Mastery is not magic. Mastery is not luck. Mastery is not something that happens in 1 week or 1 month. It happens slowly. It happens through time, practice, patience, and careful learning. The author Robert Greene explains that many people think successful people are born special. We look at a great artist, a great scientist, a great athlete, or a great business person, and we say, wow, this person is a genius. We imagine that this person was born with a special gift, a special talent. We think they were different from the beginning. But Robert Greene says this is not the full story. Yes, some people may have natural talent. Some people may learn faster at first. Some people may have a strong memory, a good ear, or a quick mind. But talent is not enough. Talent is only a small beginning. The real secret is not talent. The real secret is the path. The real secret is what people do every day. They study. They practice. They observe. They fail. They try again. They learn from teachers. They learn from books. They learn from mistakes. They repeat the same skill many times. Slowly, their brain changes. Their hands become better. Their eyes notice more. And slowly, they understand things other people do not see. This is very important for English learners too. Many learners say, I'm not good at English. Or they say, I don't have talent for languages. But maybe the real question is not, do I have talent? Maybe the real question is, am I following the right path? Am I listening every day? Am I repeating useful sentences? Am I learning words in context? Am I speaking little by little? Am I giving my brain enough time? Mastery is not about being perfect today. Mastery is about walking in the right direction every single day. In this book, Robert Greene talks about the lives of many famous people. He talks about scientists, artists, writers, inventors, business people and leaders. These people were not all the same. They lived in different countries. They worked in different fields. Some worked with machines. Some worked with words. Some worked with music. Some worked with science. But they had something in common. They all followed a deep process. They all spent a long time learning. They all passed through difficult stages. They all had moments of confusion, disappointment, frustration. They all had moments when they did not know what to do. But they continued. And this is comforting. It means that difficulty is normal. Feeling confused is normal. Being slow at the beginning is absolutely normal. Not understanding everything is normal. When you learn English, when you learn music, when you learn writing, when you learn any skill, the beginning is often uncomfortable. You want to be good quickly, but your body and your brain need time. You want to speak fluently, but your mouth needs practice. You want to understand native speakers, but your ears need thousands of hours of listening. You want to play a song, but your fingers need to repeat the movement again and again. Robert Greene's message is clear. Do not be afraid of the slow process. The slow process is not a problem. The slow process is the path. Another important idea in the book is that mastery begins with interest. You need to notice what pulls you. What makes you curious? What subject do you return to again and again? What activity gives you energy, even when it is difficult? Sometimes this interest begins when we are young. Sometimes it begins later in life. But the feeling is similar. Something inside you says, "This matters to me. I want to understand this more." For one person, it may be music. For another person, it may be teaching. For another person, it may be business, design, science, cooking, writing, or language learning. The field can be different, but the first sign is often curiosity. You want to know more. You want to go deeper. You do not only want quick results. You want a relationship with the subject. This is why mastery is different from simple success. Success can sometimes be outside. Money, fame, attention, a good job, or a good title. But mastery is inside. Mastery is the quiet feeling that you are growing. Mastery is the feeling that you are becoming stronger in one area. Mastery is the feeling that your work has meaning. Of course, mastery can bring success. A master can become famous. A master can earn money. A master can become respected. But in the beginning, you should not only think about the reward. You should think about the craft, the skill, the daily work, the love of the process. For English learners, this means something simple. Do not only ask, "When will I be fluent?" Ask, "How can I enjoy learning today?" Do not only ask, "When will I sound perfect?" Ask, "What useful sentence can I practice today?" Small steps matter. Repetition matters. Time matters. In Mastery, Robert Greene teaches us that becoming excellent is not a mystery. It is a journey. First, you find what interests you. Then you become a learner. Then you practice for a long time. Then you learn from people who are better than you. Then you begin to think in your own way. Then, after many years, you start to see deeper patterns. You start to understand your field naturally. You do not just follow rules anymore. You feel the rules. You know when to follow them and when to change them. That is mastery. So, mastery is not a gift from the sky. Mastery is built. It is built slowly. It is built through attention, practice, patience, and love for the work. And the good news is this: you do not need to be perfect to begin. You only need to begin. Okay, one of the first big ideas in this book is the idea of the life task. This means the work that feels connected to you. It is not just any job. It is not just something you do because other people tell you to do it. It is something that feels close to your real interests, your real energy, and your real nature. A life task does not always appear clearly in one day. It is not always like a loud voice that says, "This is your future." Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes it is a small feeling. Sometimes it begins as a hobby. Sometimes it begins as a question. Sometimes it begins as a problem you want to solve. For example, a child may love drawing. At first, it is only play. The child draws animals, houses, people, and strange little worlds. Other people may not take it seriously. They may say, "That is nice," and then forget about it. But for the child, drawing is not just an activity. It is a way of seeing the world. The child notices shapes, colors, faces, and small details. Years later, this child may become an artist, a designer, an animator, or an architect. The early interest was a clue. Another person may love fixing things. Maybe they open old radios, old computers, or broken toys. They want to know how things work. This interest may become engineering, technology, product design, or science. Again, the early interest is a clue. Robert Greene says that we need to pay attention to these clues. We need to ask, what has always attracted me? What do I return to again and again? What kind of work makes me feel alive? What kind of problem do I enjoy solving? What kind of subject makes me curious even when nobody is watching? This is important because mastery needs a lot of time. If you want to become truly good at something, you need years of learning. You need thousands of hours. You need patience. You need to continue when it is boring. You need to continue when progress is slow. So, it is better to choose something that has real meaning for you. If you choose only for money, you may stop when it becomes hard. If you choose only to impress people, you may become tired. But if the work is connected to something deep inside you, you can continue longer. This does not mean money is bad. Money is useful. We need money to live. We need safety. We need food, home, and stability. Robert Greene is not saying forget money. He's saying do not choose your path only because of outside pressure. Do not choose only because other people say it is good. Do not choose only because it looks impressive. Choose something that fits your mind and interests and your energy. For many people, this is difficult. Why? Because society is noisy. Family may say one thing. Friends may say another thing. Social media may show many different lifestyles. One day, you see someone making money online. Another day, you see someone becoming famous. Another day, you see someone traveling the world. You may feel confused. You may think, should I do that too? But Greene would say, go back to yourself. Look at your own nature. Look at your own pattern. Look at what has been calling you for a long time. A life task is not always one narrow job. It can be a direction. For example, your life task may be helping people learn. This can become teaching, writing, coaching, creating videos, building courses, or making educational tools. The form can change, but the deep direction stays the same. Your life task may be telling stories. That can become writing books, making films, creating podcasts, or designing games. Again, the form can change. This idea is very useful because the modern world changes quickly. Jobs change. Technology changes. Platforms change. But your deeper interests can guide you. If you know your deeper direction, you can adapt. You can say, my field is changing, but my purpose is still here. I can learn new tools. I can use new methods, but I am still following the same deep interest. For English learners, the life task idea can also help. Maybe English is not your final life task, but English can become a bridge. A bridge means something that helps you cross from one place to another. English can help you study. English can help you teach. English can help you travel. English can help you build a business. English can help you share your ideas with more people. So, when English feels difficult, remember the bigger reason. Why are you learning English? What will English help you do? When you connect English to a bigger purpose, you can continue more easily. You're not only memorizing words, you are building a bridge. You are not only learning grammar, you are opening a door. You are not only practicing pronunciation, you are preparing your voice for the world. Robert Greene also explains that many people lose their connection with their real interests. When we are young, we may know what we like, but as we grow older, we hear many voices. Be practical. Do this job. Choose this path. This is safer. This is more respected. Slowly, We may forget what we really wanted. We may become disconnected from ourselves. So, part of mastery is remembering. Remember what interested you before. Remember what made you curious. Remember what gave you energy. Remember the subjects, activities, and questions that stayed with you. This remembering can help you choose your path again. But we should be realistic too. Finding your life task does not mean everything becomes easy. Even when you love something, the work is still hard. A musician who loves music still has to practice scales. A writer who loves writing still has to rewrite many pages. A teacher who loves teaching still has to prepare a lesson. A business person who loves building things still has to solve difficult problems. Love does not remove difficulty. Love helps you stay with the difficulty. This is a beautiful idea. The right path is not the path with no problems. The right path is the path where the problems feel meaningful. You can say, "This is hard, but it matters to me." You can say, "I'm tired, but I still care." You can say, "I am slow, but I want to continue." So, in this part of the episode, the message is simple. Listen to your deeper interests. They are not random. They may be signs. They may show you where your energy wants to go. Do not ignore what calls you. Do not ignore your curiosity. Do not ignore the quiet feeling that says, "I want to know more." Mastery begins when you choose a direction that feels true to you. All right. After you find your direction, Robert Greene says you must enter the apprenticeship phase. This is one of the most important parts of the path to mastery. The word apprenticeship means a period of learning. In the past, a young person became an apprentice to a master. The apprentice watched, helped, practiced, and learned. They did not become a master immediately. First, they became a serious learner. This is a very important idea. Before you can become great, you must become a good student. Before you can create something original, you must learn the basics. Before you can break the rules, you must understand the rules. Before you can speak naturally, you must listen carefully. Before you can write beautifully, you must read a lot. Many people do not like this phase. They want quick success. They want to look smart. They want to create something big immediately. But Greene says the beginner's stage is necessary. It is not a shame. It is not a problem. It is the foundation. A foundation is the strong part under a building. People do not always see it, but without it, the building falls. In the same way, basic skills are the foundation of mastery. They may look simple, they may look boring, but they support everything. Think about learning English. Some learners want to speak like native speakers very quickly. They want advanced words, complex grammar, and fast conversation. But if the basic foundation is weak, they struggle. They may know difficult words, but they cannot use simple sentences naturally. They may understand grammar rules, but they cannot speak smoothly. They may watch difficult videos, but they cannot catch everyday phrases. So the apprenticeship phase says, slow down, learn the basics deeply, listen carefully, repeat useful sentences, notice patterns, practice small things every day. Do not hurry too much. In any field, the apprenticeship phase has three main parts. First, you observe. Second, you practice skills. Third, you experiment slowly. To observe means watching carefully. When you enter a new field, do not talk too much at first. Do not think you know everything. Watch people who are better than you. Watch how they work. Watch how they solve problems. Watch how they speak. Watch how they think. You can learn a lot by just watching. For example, if you want to become a better English speaker, watch natural conversations. Listen to how people start sentences. Listen to how they agree. Listen to how they disagree politely. Listen to how they use small words like, well, actually, I mean, you know, and kind of. These small words are important. They make speech sound natural. You do not learn them only from grammar books. You learn them by listening. If you want to become a better teacher, observe good teachers. Notice how they explain. Notice how they slow down. Notice how they give examples. If you want to become a better creator, observe good creators. Notice their structure. Notice their style. Notice their rhythm. Notice how they keep attention. Notice how they make difficult ideas simple. Observation is not passive. Passive means you do nothing. Real observation is active. You are looking with attention. You are asking, what is happening here? Why does this work? What can I learn from this? The second part is practice. You must practice the basic skills again and again. This may not feel exciting every day, but it is powerful. Repetition changes the brain. Repetition makes the body comfortable. Repetition makes difficult things easier. A pianist repeats scales. A football player repeats passing. A writer writes every day. A speaker practices speaking. A language learner repeats sentences, listens again, shadows, and speaks aloud. At first, repetition feels slow. You may think, I already did this yesterday, but your brain needs it again. Your mouth needs it again. Your ear needs it again. Your fingers need it again. Mastery grows from repeated contact with a skill. In English learning, this means you should not only listen once, listen again. Do not only read once, read again. Do not only learn one phrase and forget it. Use it in a sentence. Say it aloud. Use it tomorrow. Use it next week. The phrase becomes yours when you meet it many times. Now, the third part is experiment. After you observe and practice, you begin to try small things yourself. You do not only copy, you begin to make small choices. You try a new sentence. You explain an idea in your own words. You create a short video. You write a simple paragraph. You speak for 1 minute about your day. You test yourself. Experimenting is important because mastery is not only copying. Copying helps at the beginning, but later you need your own voice. Still, Greene says, do not rush this. First, absorb. First, learn. First, build your foundation. Then, experiment. The apprenticeship phase can feel long. Sometimes it takes years. This may sound scary, but it can also feel peaceful. You do not need to become perfect quickly. You are allowed to be a learner. You are allowed to practice. You are allowed to make mistakes. Mistakes are part of apprenticeship. In fact, mistakes are teachers. When you make a mistake, you see what needs attention. A mistake says, look here. This part is not clear yet. A mistake says, try again, but more carefully. Many people avoid mistakes because they feel embarrassed. They think mistakes mean failure. But in mastery, mistakes are information. They show you the next step. A beginner who never makes mistakes is probably not practicing enough. A serious learner makes mistakes, studies them, and improves them. This is very important for speaking English. If you wait until your English is perfect, you may never speak. But if you speak, make mistakes, notice them, and continue, you will improve. You do not need to love mistakes, but you can respect them. They are part of the path. They are part of the process. During apprenticeship, you also need humility. Humility means you accept that you do not know everything. This is not weakness. It is strength. A person who thinks, I already know everything, cannot learn much. But a person who thinks, I can learn more, stays open. And an open mind grows. So the message of this part is simple. Become a serious learner. Do not hate the beginner stage. Do not run away from practice. Do not be embarrassed by slow progress. The apprenticeship phase is where your future mastery is built. Every great person was once a beginner. Every expert once felt confused. Every master once had to practice the basics. The slow work you do today becomes the deep skill you will have tomorrow. Another important idea in mastery is the power of mentors. A mentor is a guide. A mentor is someone who has more experience than you and can help you grow faster. A mentor can be a teacher, a coach, a manager, an old friend, a master in your field, or even an author whose books guide you. Robert Greene says that mentors are important because they help us see what we cannot see alone. When we are beginners, we often do not know what matters. We do not know which mistakes are serious and which mistakes are small. We do not know which habits will help us and which habits will hurt us. A good mentor can save us time. A good mentor can say, focus on this. A good mentor can say, do not waste your energy there. A good mentor can say, you are missing this important point. This is very true in language learning. A learner may practice for years, but still repeat the same mistakes. Maybe they use unnatural phrases. Maybe their pronunciation is unclear. Maybe they translate too much from their first language. Maybe they know grammar, but they do not speak naturally. A good teacher can notice these things. A good teacher can guide the learner gently. The teacher does not learn from the student, but the teacher shows the student where to look. A mentor is not a magician. A mentor cannot do the work for you. This is very important. Some people think, if I find the best teacher, I will become excellent. But even the best teacher cannot practice for you. The mentor can open the door, but you must walk through it. The mentor can show the path, but you must take the steps. The mentor can give feedback, but you must use it. So the relationship between a learner and a mentor is active. The learner must listen, practice, ask questions, and apply advice. The mentor gives direction, but the learner gives effort. A good mentor can also give honest feedback. Honest feedback is not always comfortable. Sometimes a mentor says, "This is not good enough yet," or "You need to repeat this," or "You are moving too fast," or "Your foundation is weak." At first, this may hurt. Nobody likes hearing that their work is not ready. But honest feedback is a gift when it is given with care. Think about music. A piano teacher may stop a student and say, "Play it more slowly." The student may want to play fast. The student may want to sound impressive. But the teacher knows that speed without control is not real skill. So the teacher says, slow down, listen, feel the rhythm, use the correct fingers. This correction may feel boring, but it helps the student grow. In English, a teacher may say, do not memorize single words. Learn phrases. Do not speak too fast. Speak clearly. Repeat this sentence again. Listen to the stress. These corrections help the learner build real skill. Robert Greene also says that we should choose mentors carefully. Not every experienced person is a good mentor. Some people may be skilled, but they cannot teach. Some people may be powerful, but they are not generous. Some people may want control, not growth. So we need to look for mentors who are strong in their field, but also able to guide. A good mentor does not make you dependent forever. A good mentor helps you become stronger. At first, you need support. You need examples. You need correction. But slowly, a good mentor teaches you how to think for yourself. The final goal is not to copy the mentor forever. The final goal is to grow into your own ability. This is a beautiful balance. First, you learn from the mentor, you respect their experience, you copy useful methods, you accept correction, but later you begin to find your own way. You do not reject the mentor rudely. You do not forget what they gave you, but you become independent. You develop your own voice. For example, a writer may first copy the style of great writers. This is normal. A musician may first copy great musicians. A teacher may first copy great teachers. A YouTube creator may first study successful channels. Copying at the beginning can be useful. It helps you understand structure. It helps you build taste. It helps you learn what works. But copying is not the final step. After some time, you need to ask, what is my voice? What do I see differently? What can I create that feels true to me? This is also important for English learners. At first, you can copy fluent speakers. You can repeat sentences. You can shadow conversations. You can copy rhythm and pronunciation. This is excellent. But later, you need to use English to express your own ideas. You do not only want to sound like someone else. You want to sound like yourself in English. This is a powerful goal, to become yourself in another language. Mentors can also protect us from discouragement. When we are learning alone, we may lose hope. We may think, I'm not improving. We may think, this is too hard. But a mentor can see progress that we cannot see. A teacher may say, actually, your pronunciation is clearer than before. Or, you are using longer sentences now. Or, you understand more than you think. This encouragement matters. But Robert Greene also warns us that we should not become too comfortable. A mentor helps us, but we must still face difficulty. We must still practice. We must still leave our comfort zone. A mentor is not there to make everything easy. A mentor is there to make growth possible. Sometimes the mentor is not a person we meet. Sometimes books become mentors. A book can teach us how someone thinks. A podcast can guide us. A course can show us a method. A great artist from the past can become a silent teacher. When we study their work deeply, you learn from them. For example, if you study a great speaker, you can learn how they organize ideas. If you study a great teacher, you can learn how they explain. If you study a great storyteller, you can learn how they build emotion. You may never meet them, but they still mentor you through their work. So, in your own path, ask yourself, who can guide me? Who can give me feedback? Who has walked this road before me? Who can help me see what I cannot see yet? And also ask, am I a good student? Do I listen carefully? Do I practice after feedback? Do I respect the process? Because mentorship works best when two things meet: good guidance and serious effort. A mentor gives light, but you must walk. All right. Robert Greene, the author of the book Mastery, also explains that skill is not enough. You also need social intelligence. What does that mean? Social intelligence means understanding people. It means understanding emotions, communication, power, jealousy, trust, respect, and human behavior. This is very important because no one becomes a master alone. Even if you work alone, you still live with people. You work with teachers, clients, students, friends, managers, viewers, customers, or colleagues. If you understand only your technical skill, but you do not understand people, you may have problems. For example, imagine a very talented person at work. This person is intelligent. They know many things. They can do the job well, but they are rude. They do not listen. They make other people feel small. They speak without respect. What happens? People may not want to work with them. Now, imagine another person. This person is also skilled, but they listen carefully. They understand the room. They know when to speak and when to stay quiet. They respect other people. They do not create unnecessary enemies. They learn from criticism. They build trust. This person can go further because people feel safe around them. Now, Robert Greene says we must learn to see people clearly. This does not mean we become cold or suspicious. It means we become awake. We notice behavior. We notice patterns. We do not believe only words. We also watch actions. People often show who they are through repeated behavior. One action may not tell you everything, but repeated actions are important. If someone always blames others, this is a pattern. If someone always takes credit for other people's work, this is a pattern. If someone always listens and helps, this is also a pattern. Social intelligence means seeing these patterns. And for mastery, this matters because the wrong people can waste your energy. They can discourage you. They can pull you into drama. They can make you lose focus. Robert Greene says, we need to protect our energy. We need to choose our environment carefully. This does not mean we only work with perfect people. Perfect people do not simply exist. Everyone has weaknesses. Everyone has bad days. But we should learn which relationships help us grow and which relationships slowly damage us. For English learners, social intelligence can mean understanding real conversation. Language is not only grammar. Language is people. When someone says, "That's interesting," do they really mean it? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It depends on tone, face, situation, and relationship. When someone says, "Maybe we could think about another option," they may politely mean, "I do not agree." When someone says, "No worries," they may mean it is okay, but sometimes they may still feel a little annoyed. Real language is connected to emotion. That is why learning English from real situations is useful. You learn not only words, but also social meaning. You learn how people soften disagreement. You learn how people make requests politely. You learn how people show interest. You learn how people change the subject. You learn how people comfort each other. Social intelligence also means controlling yourself. It is not only about reading other people, it is about reading yourself. What makes you angry? What makes you jealous? What makes you feel small? What makes you react too quickly? If you do not understand yourself, other people can easily control your emotions. For example, if criticism makes you very angry, you may reject useful feedback. If you need praise all the time, you may become dependent on other people's opinions. If you compare yourself too much, you may lose your own direction. A person on the path to mastery must learn emotional control. This does not mean you become a robot. You will still feel anger, fear, jealousy, sadness, and excitement. That is normal. But you learn not to let every emotion drive the car. You see the emotion, you pause, you think, then you choose your response. This is powerful. Many people lose opportunities because they react too quickly. They send an angry message. They speak too harshly. They give up after one bad comment. They let one person's opinion destroy their confidence. Social intelligence helps you stay steady. Greene also talks about envy and comparison. Envy means feeling unhappy because someone else has something you want. This is common. We all feel it sometimes. You see someone succeed and part of you feels pain. You think, why not me? But if you do not understand this feeling, it can become dangerous. It can make you bitter. It can make you attack others. It can make you stop working on yourself. A better way is to turn envy into information. If someone's success hurts you, ask, what does this show me? Maybe it shows you what you want. Maybe it shows you what you care about that field. Maybe it shows you that you need to work more seriously. Instead of saying, I hate this person, you can say, this feeling is teaching me something about my own desire. This is mature. This is useful. This protects your energy. Social intelligence also helps you work with mentors. A student who is too proud may not learn. A student who is too passive may not grow. You need balance. Respect the mentor, but do not lose yourself. Listen to advice, but also think. Be grateful, but not dependent. Learn, but slowly become independent. In creative work, social intelligence is especially important. If you are building a channel, a course, a business, or a public project, you need to understand your audience. What do they need? What do they fear? What confuses them? What language do they understand? What helps them stay engaged? You're not creating only for yourself. You are communicating with real people. A good teacher understands students. A good writer understands readers. A good speaker understands listeners. This is social intelligence. So mastery is not only deep skill. Mastery is also deep awareness of people, deep understanding of people. You need your craft, But you also need emotional wisdom. You need practice, but you also need patience with humans. You need ambition, but you also need respect. In simple words, learn your skill and learn people, because every path to mastery passes through human relationships. All right. After a long time of learning, observing, practicing, and receiving guidance, the learner begins to enter a new stage. Robert Greene calls this the creative, active stage. This is the stage where you do not only allow what others do, you begin to create, you begin to experiment more deeply. You begin to know questions. You begin to find your own style. This stage does not come at the beginning. This is important. Many people want to be original immediately. They want to be different before they understand the basics. But real creativity usually comes after deep learning. First, you absorb. Then you practice. Then you understand. Then you create. Think about language. A beginner cannot easily make beautiful, natural sentences because they do not yet have enough examples in your mind. They need input. They need listening. They need reading. They need repetition. But after hearing many sentences, they begin to feel patterns. They begin to say things in their own way. They can change a sentence. They can combine phrases. They can express a personal idea. This is creative language use. Creativity is not always making something completely new. Sometimes creativity means connecting old things in a new way. You take one idea from here, another idea from there, and you combine them. A teacher may combine storytelling with shadowing. A musician may combine classical music with modern rhythm. A business person may combine education with technology. A writer may combine simple language with deep ideas. Robert Greene shows that masters often think differently because they have spent so much time inside their field. They see connections that other people do not see. They notice small changes. They ask better questions. They do not only copy the surface, they understand the deep structure. The surface is what everyone sees. The deep structure is what is under it. For example, in English learning, the surface is the sentence. But under the surface, there is rhythm, stress, grammar, emotion, social meaning, and context. A beginner may only see the words. A more advanced learner begins to hear the music of the sentence. A teacher sees even more. The teacher sees why the sentence works, where learners may struggle, and how to explain it simply. This deeper seeing is part of the mastery. Now, creative thinking also needs courage. When you create something, it may fail. People may not like it. It may not work the first time. You may feel unsure. But Robert Greene says that masters are willing to experiment. They are willing to test ideas. They are willing to make mistakes in order to discover something. This does not mean they are careless. They are not just doing random things. They know the basics. They understand their field, but they are not prisoners of old methods. They ask, what if? What if I try this? What if I combine these two ideas? What if I solve the problem in another way? What if the old rule is not always true? The phrase, what if, is very powerful. It opens the mind. It moves you from copying to exploring. For English learners, creative thinking can begin in a simple way. Take a sentence and change it. For example, I usually drink coffee in the morning. Now change it. I usually listen to music in the morning. I usually go for a walk in the evening. I used to drink coffee at night, but now I don't. This is small creativity. You are using a pattern, but you are making it your own. You can also tell your own stories with simple English. You do not need advanced words. You can say, yesterday, I felt tired, but I still studied for 20 minutes. At first, I did not want to study, but after 5 minutes, I felt better. This is your language. This is your life in English, and this is important. Creativity grows when you use the skill, not only study it. If you only read about writing, you do not become a writer. You must write. If you only watch videos about speaking, you do not become a speaker. You must speak. If you only learn about teaching, you do not become a teacher. You must teach, observe, change, and teach again. Action is important. This is why Robert Greene calls this stage creative active. Active means you do something. You test your ideas in the real world. You do not only think, you make, you speak, you write, you build, you perform, you publish, you share. Of course, this can be scary. When your work is inside your mind, it feels safe. Nobody can criticize it. But when you share it, people can respond. Some people may like it. Some people may ignore it. Some people may criticize it. This is part of the process. A creative person must become strong enough to receive feedback without losing the desire to continue. A useful sentence from the book is this: feedback is information, not identity. If one video does not work, it does not mean you are bad. It means this video did not work. If one English conversation feels difficult, it does not mean your English is terrible. It means this conversation was difficult. Separate the work from your identity. This helps you continue. Okay, so let's bring everything together. First, you listen to your deep interest. You find a direction that feels meaningful. Then you enter the apprenticeship phase. Then you become a serious learner. You observe, practice, repeat, and build your foundation. Then you learn from mentors. You accept guidance and feedback. You respect experience, but slowly you develop your own voice. Then you develop social intelligence. You understand people, emotions, relationships, and yourself. Then you enter the creative stage. You experiment. You make things. You test ideas. You learn from results. And finally, after long practice, you begin to think like a master. You understand your field deeply. This is not a quick path, but it is a beautiful path. And maybe the most important idea is this. You can start now. You do not need perfect conditions. You do not need perfect confidence. You do not need to know everything. You only need a direction and a small daily practice. For English learners, start with one sentence. Listen to it, repeat it, use it. Then tomorrow, learn another sentence. Keep going. Slowly, your English will grow. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of English Unleashed. I'm Tom, and today we learned that mastery is built through time, practice, patience, teachers, people skills, creativity, and deep focus. If this episode helped you, listen to it again. Repetition is powerful. The first time, you understand the main idea. The second time, you hear more details. The third time, the language becomes more familiar. Keep listening, keep practicing, and keep growing. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to keep walking the path. Bye for now.